If you would like to know some of the hints that I might have after my 40 years of experience in the event you are pulled over, number one, do not create a driving error because that gives the officer reasonable suspicion to pull you over. So drive carefully, focus on your driving, don't fool around with your passenger or otherwise play the radio, and don't use a cell phone. Two, if pulled over, be aware of where your driver's license is, usually in your wallet or your purse. Be able to extract it so you show no problems with fine muscle control or dexterity. Same thing for your registration and insurance. Know where they are, be able to hand them to the officer swift and sure. They're trained to look for that, and they do. Three, when the officer asks you questions about whether you've been drinking, my suggestion is you say yes. The officer can smell it. When you lie to the officer, things go downhill. When the officer talks to you about how much you've been drinking, where you were drinking, and things of that nature, you're entitled to ask for an attorney. You're not in custody yet, so the Miranda rights have not triggered, but you're certainly entitled not to provide any further information, and that's my suggestion. When the officer orders you out of the car, you may do so, or you may choose not to do so, but you will be arrested. The failure of field sobriety tests is not a critical point against you, in my opinion, and over the 40 years of doing DUI defense work. So, if you ask, should I get out and do the field sobriety test or should I not? The answer is probably yes, but be sure to explain to the officer prior to the administration of those subjective, they call them objective tests, that you have physical ailments and what they are. Be sure to tell the officer you're nervous and you're anxious. Be sure to explain to the officer any problems you have with your knees, your ankles, and so forth. Next, when the officer asks you, will you submit to a test? The answer is yes. My suggestion now for tactical reasons would be to take a blood test. Also, for those of you who are cynical about law enforcement, it keeps the officer more honest because he has to write a report based upon the facts, not the subsequent breath test result if you chose the alternative. Next, and most important, do not submit. You do not have to submit to a preliminary alcohol screening test called a PAUSE test. It's a handheld breath test. Under the law, Vehicle Code Section 23612, you are not required to submit to such a test. Don't take it.